Hey, welcome to Merge and Evolve, real talk on love, growth, and blending lives.
I'm Patrick, a real estate agent here in Indianapolis, Indiana.
And I'm Kyla. I am a therapist, associate therapist here in Indianapolis, Indiana as well.
So sit back, relax, let's talk about blending families.
So, the reason we started this podcast was so we can talk about dating in your 30s and beyond. That's a rare thing people don't really talk about, right?
Right.
Also, to talk about blending families, especially when we got a big age gap. We got a pretty big age gap in our kids. I got my oldest is 23.
My only one is 9.
So age gap there, and then we got 18 in between. 18-year old. I have an 18-year-old in between. And then also to talk about the importance of self-development and the process of relationships, because that's been a big thing for us. I know for me,
Right. Me too.
growing,
Yeah.
right, in this relationship. So today what we talking about?
We're talking about communication.
We talking about You said it. We talking about communication. We talking about communication today. Yes. Want to talk a little bit why we chose that topic?
Well, communication to us is plays a vital role in our relationship. We had to learn each other's communication styles, and throughout the years, it's been kind of challenging.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
as we continue on with this relationship and we continue to learn ourselves, we also have to continue to learn each other and our different communication styles.
Yeah, because that changes. Like I think as life transitions, as different things have happened, which y'all gonna learn along the way, the things that have happened
Hmm.
for us to get here, right?
Right.
So yeah, communication has been like
Hmm.
foundational. And I think we'll go more into this, but like even learning how we communicate individually, that's been like important as well too. So yeah, so that's we're gonna talk, and it's a little story behind this. We'll talk about the story that involved our first miscommunication.
Right.
That was a little major, right?
It was.
So yeah, but so let's get into something that we both love music, right?
Right.
I love music. And I think a great way to communicate, and I think music should be, I think it is a love language.
It should.
Yeah.
It is.
So we got a Merge and Evolve
Playlist.
playlist that we talking about, Merge and Evolve playlist.
So each
So,
episode, we're going to drop a song a piece
yep.
that we like or that we feel like is a good love song or something that fits our style.
Yeah.
Right?
Something
Yeah.
that speaks to us.
Right.
Us or us individually, right?
Right.
And then at the end of the season, we'll share our whole love playlist that you can download or download as you go. Build out your playlist too. So
Right.
you want to share your song first?
So my song is All Mine by Brent Fire.
Okay. Oh, all mine.
Yeah, All Mine.
Okay.
Yes, All Mine. Yes.
Is it Brent Fayez?
Listen.
What'd you say, Fire?
Fire. Hey,
I think it's Fayez.
the Brent guy.
The Brent guy. That's
Yes.
Okay, we gotta say it not right. Brent Fayez. We don't
Right.
be disrespectful.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Brent Fire.
Brent Fayez. Okay, all mine. Why you
Yes.
select this song?
Because the song just speaks to my soul and my character.
Speak to the soul.
It speaks to my character,
Okay.
But no, I like
It
his
sounds a little
music.
possessive. All mine. I mean, I'm a little possessive too, so it's okay.
Mhm. Yes. So
Okay. His song is All Mine. Got you. All right. Well, my song is Snow Allegra. I Want You Around. I think that's the title. I love that song. I love this. First of all, it's a good little, it made
good
me
little
want to,
vibe.
yeah, a little bop.
Mhm.
I'm bopping in my head, right? They say I don't step right. I be bopping. So whatever. Just picture that. But
Okay. So why you choose that one?
why did I choose that song? Because it really is a touching song. It's so sweet because I'm be honest with y'all. Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna have nobody. Like I didn't think I was gonna have nobody. I was about to be solo, dolo.
Yeah. Well,
It was about to be solo, dolo.
right. When we get into the story, yes.
Well, let's get into the story because no, that story. Anyway, whatever.
Mhm.
Yes. So okay. So that's our Merge and Evolve love playlist, the beginning of it. So again, either wait till episode 8, we'll drop the whole playlist, or download the songs as we go. All right. So
So we're gonna just jump into this.
yeah, let's go ahead and start with the story.
Okay. So this is just one of many stories because we have stories.
Or what had happened was
So what happened was I had met Kyla. This was back in like August.
2020. I don't think it was August, Patrick.
It
You
was
always say
it
that.
was August. No, it was September. It was September.
When is Labor Day?
It was
August.
September because it was my homeboy's birthday. I remember.
Okay, whatever.
All right. So
Hmm.
then come November, January, whatever. Anyways, a few months later, Kyla is applying for school.
Yep. After
And
14 years, I was going back to grad school.
so, when we first met, I asked her, say, hey, what do you prefer? Do you prefer text message or phone calls? I prefer phone calls because I'm always busy, blah, blah, blah. I said, okay, cool. So now, phone calls, it's about like 3 to 5 a day or whatever, just to say, hey. But then she starts applying for school. Phone calls become less.
Okay, let me pause you there. Okay, pause. Because not only was I applying for school,
Mm-hmm.
I was also doing hair. I'm a hairstylist. So doing hair, it's with my hands. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't just, I was just applying for school. I was working as well.
Right. So the
Okay.
phone calls
Back.
became less. Right?
Okay.
Would you agree?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So during this time, I'm like, okay, wow, see, I know where this is going. In my head, this is about to be over with. So
Hey, that's some trauma. That's the therapist to me speaking. That was some
listen,
trauma.
listen, because it's patterns here. So it's like, okay, I,
Okay.
I know what this pattern is. So after about like a week, well, it was, I ain't gonna say it was the conversations got short throughout the day. So it was like one phone call, maybe like 2 to 3 minutes
Okay.
max. That's how
Yeah,
long the
okay,
phone
yes.
calls
So,
were.
yes, because when I was working doing hair, like my hands were busy, and so and I'm not the stylist who is doing 35 things while I'm doing somebody's hair. Like my client got my attention. I build my business off of relationships. It's what I do. But and so I was not always picking up the phone when he called, or I'd be short. I can acknowledge that I'll be short.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, this this relationship is about over. So then one day
You felt like that?
I did. So
Oh,
then
I didn't know
I
that.
took a couple shots of some dark liquor.
Oh,
I'm not
that
gonna say
liquor.
what brand it was
That
because I'm not getting paid for it yet.
liquor.
So um, so I took a couple shots and Kyla came over. Oh, like, hey, like nothing was wrong.
Wait, pause. Because Patrick, I think what happened was we might have different versions of this story.
We do, but
Well, no, because I think it's something with the text, and it was like has something to do with like I haven't heard from you. I don't know what, but then I did come over there finally after I was done. I think I was trying to write my personal statement to get into
yes.
school.
Right.
Go. I'll let you finish the story, but I think I have to explain to y'all why I was so focused on this, why it was so important to me. It's always two sides to a story, right? And some reasons that, again, it was early on, so we're still learning each other
Right.
and learning what's important to each other. So
Right.
there we go.
Yeah. So the communication went from a few times a day to
Gotcha.
once,
Yes.
and then
So I'm at your door.
right. So now you're at the door. So I'm like, hey, have a seat. And then you was like, hey, blah blah blah, like all chipper. Like, why she all happy? Like I haven't heard from her.
He was actually a little stank, y'all.
I was. I
Yeah,
told you
because
I
it
had.
wasn't. It wasn't. Hey, have a seat. He was like.
So I was like, you got me effed up.
And that's when he didn't know that he had me effed up.
So
Because
then,
I remember at that moment,
mm-hmm.
I said to you, like, I recall saying something like, I haven't cussed at you not one time. Like, I haven't cussed at you. And I tried to explain, like, I was busy and why it was important to me, whatever.
Right.
And then what did you say?
No, I don't even remember that
This
part.
is what he said.
What I said?
He said, and if it's going to be like this, I just can't do this. Or what'd you say? I can't do, if it's going to be like this, I can't do this. Or I won't be doing this something. So you know what I said? All right, then don't do this.
Yeah, you left.
And left. And seen, right?
Mm-hmm.
So let me run this back real quick. Here's why. Yes, I was just writing this personal statement. I was really like locked into it because, mind you, I said I was applying. Pandemic just happened. I'm realizing like I need to probably have a career change. Like I sat down like everybody else, but what was different for me is I didn't have no PTO. I didn't have a work from home job. I was trying to have some clients come get their hair done or whatever. So I was like, I need to find something different to do. That's when I decided to go back to school. That's when I met Patrick. It's funny how God makes all these things happen at one time, right? So for me, this was so personal, and I wanted to make sure I got it right and that I got into school. On top of that, also, my undergrad, it took me 7 years to finish undergrad. I had two daughters. I had my oldest daughter my sophomore year of college, had my youngest my senior year, which was like my sixth, seventh year of college or whatever, right? With a finished with like a 2.3 GPA. Wow. So I'm like, I want this and I really want to get in. I mean, it was, I had something I had to prove myself, like I could do this. Mind you, I did get into school and I finished with a 3.8 GPA. Yes, I did. But no, so that's why at that time, it
Mhm.
was so important to me. Like, I'm locked in. And if he wasn't on this train with me, he wasn't here. Like, cool. So when he was like, I can't do this, I was like, cool, me neither.
Mm.
Bye.
Right.
And so, yeah.
Right.
So we didn't, I don't think we talked for,
No, we text, and there was some long text
okay, it was some
messages.
long text in between there.
Yeah,
Okay.
and with the text messages, things can get misconstrued, and tones
Absolutely.
can be blown out of
Yeah.
proportion,
Yeah.
and yeah, so things went back and forth, and she tried to, I ain't gonna say
Go ahead, say it.
um,
What?
try to out nigga me, you know what I'm saying? So it was like, hey, I'm outside. I was like, oh, come on up. No, you come outside. Come sit in my car.
I was raised with boys.
Like,
Mm.
what? Okay, whatever. I know where this. Okay, you playing the little game. Okay, whatever. So then what I do? Oh, I think I text you.
I think did you invite me out to eat or something?
No, what happened was we stopped talking we stopped talking for a while,
Okay.
and then
Mm-hmm.
I text you, and I was like, hey, can you make me a little protein snacks?
Oh,
And you was like,
Lord.
oh well, for that, and we need to have a conversation.
Yeah, because I wasn't about to be sitting here making no snacks for somebody who,
Right.
no.
Excuse me. So we ended up going out to eat,
Mm-hmm.
and then I apologized
Yeah, long story short, he apologized. He did apologize.
one of the few
That
times.
was the start of us understanding each other's communication, but also understanding what was important to each other. So this is
Mhm.
where I talk about like that self. And listen, y'all, that was the first time, as we said, the first. So
First of
there's
many.
more to come.
Yes.
Ain't don't say it like that, like a mini.
I mean, not like that,
But
but
it was a few.
yeah, there's a few.
It was, yeah. Yeah. But so that's why the role of communications in relationship is so important. And it's hard to say like from jump, you should already be having those conversations like in dating but dating is how you get that information,
Right.
right? It is the gathering of data, right?
And then
And so
also like you don't know until you're in that situation.
that's true. That's
Because I was like,
true.
oh yeah, you going back to school? Okay, cool. That's fine. But I
Yeah.
didn't know how the communication was gonna be like less
Yeah.
versus what it was in the beginning.
I didn't know what that was gonna look like either.
Yeah.
But I think that I mean, I appreciate you for sticking around. Because even throughout the 2 years of school, 2.5 years, yeah, it was a lot of like questionable times. Like, I don't think I could do this. Again, I'm in my late 30s at that
Late
time.
30s.
Returning to school. My oldest, I think, had just gotten to college. She was in college and stuff. So it was lots of transitions happening. And
Hmm.
here I am
The
saying I'm
youngest
about
is
to be in
saying,
this relationship. And then he got a 5-year-old at the time. I'm like,
right.
what? I thought I was about to be free. Like it was just so much. So, but yeah. So this is having that communication and effectively communicating really does help to build trust as well. And that's
Hmm.
one thing I think we continuously we're trying to work on.
Right.
And I think even now it's like even better of making the effort and learning like what it takes to get on the same page, right?
Right.
One thing I've learned is space and grace,
Hmm.
like the importance of space and grace. Because let me tell you something. For me, and I think it's just because I'm a businesswoman first. Like I've come from a family of entrepreneurs, and the way I've learned how to communicate, and beyond that, like being a single mom, it was just like I had to be on top of stuff. I got
Hmm.
stuff to do, you know what I mean, and being in control. And so it's like boom, boom, everything, boom, boom, boom. These kids knew, boom, boom, boom. Like we following these orders, we getting this stuff done. And especially like if I had a problem, the problem had to get solved now. I don't got time to wait for the problem to get solved. So it's like we're gonna solve the problem now. Patrick, on the other hand,
I need time to process.
what is processing?
I need time to because you know what it is. So when I say I need time to process, I don't know if it's the debate class I took, a few of them, that I sit there and I'm like, okay, I hear your side, but this is my side. So in my mind, I'm debating with both sides just to see, like, okay, I'm trying to make this make sense in my head. So then that's when I come back. I'm like, oh, okay, well, you know what? Maybe you were right.
Mm,
Or, you know what? This is what I hear what you're saying, but this is my point of view.
okay.
And
Yeah.
so I try to make it make sense in my mind first before I just react out of emotion.
Yeah. And I think us going to now we are one of those couples that did attend couples therapy eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Again, eventually we've had a few breakups in there. But that helped us to learn our styles, learn some more about ourselves too.
Right.
Let me ask you this though. With us being in our late 30s and dating, what do you think are some other challenges that in regards to communication with people dating in their late 30s?
Honestly, I think that a lot of people either they're stuck in their ways or they've been single so long that they don't know how to be in a relationship.
That's a big one.
So it's
Yeah.
like, oh, well, you know what? I've been single. I've been doing this my whole life, or I've been doing this for so long that can't nobody come in here and tell me what to do, or why should I do it this way when I'm so used to doing it my
I
way?
feel like you're talking about me
I'm
because
not. I'm not. I'm just talking about in general.
because that's how. But that's like mindset wise how
Mhm.
I really was. Like I've been doing this and know how to get stuff done. So like, nah, either you gonna get on my train and like do it how we doing it because this thing is rolling and we doing
Mhm.
good, or it's not gonna, it's there's no negotiables here. So it had to be some spaces where, man, because I think also it's so ingrained in us, like some people though, like don't settle.
Mhm.
People think that adjusting or negotiating is settling.
Right, but it's not. It's really allowing somebody else to come into your space to add to you.
True. Perspective matters, right?
Right.
Perspective really does matter. You also said so. Yeah, people being stuck in their ways is a big one, and
Hmm.
I can't stand hearing people say I've been like this. I always been like this.
Right.
Well, that's why you're but single. Like, what
Exactly.
I mean? That's why you're
Exactly.
single right now. So,
Mhm.
I think those are ones too. What other things? I think like I said, I think some people the life transitions can really
I can see
be a
that.
challenge for people, especially
Mhm.
like for me. I had such a what I thought was a clear view of how I wanted things to go because my daughters was about to graduate. Like I'm about to be for real, you know what I mean?
Right.
And like here come this guy. Like yeah, he a nice guy, he cool, but he got a 5 year old. Like what am I gonna do with this? You know what I mean? Like does that mean I'll be here stuck forever? Whatever, right? And I think that that's where bringing God into this is like I'm not leaving room for God to like show me what He
Mhm.
got. Like I have this picture of what it can be, but maybe God got something greater,
Mhm.
in this connection. I'm just not seeing it yet. So
Mhm.
this is where we had to call it. Well, I had to call on First Lady, my First Lady a lot, pulling in my reinforcement and talking to people and like especially her and helping to change my perspective. As well as some other married couples that I know as well. Like my parents helped me a little bit, not a lot of it.
Mhm.
Um, but it was good getting. Don't be going to get everybody input on your relationship.
Please don't.
We have a story about that too, but
Yeah.
but don't let everybody sit there and put their mouth and speak into your relationship. I don't let anybody just speak on my life, period.
Right.
So
Me neither.
no,
Yeah.
but especially your relationship. Some people may think they mean well, but
Mhm. Yeah. But they're doing more damage than good.
mm.
So,
Anything else? Like what other things you think that
um,
affect, like impact dating in your 30s, your late 30s, and
I think hmm,
what about fear? Well, I
that
guess fear goes along
yeah,
with all those things, but
yeah, and then people just scared to be vulnerable.
yeah, man.
Mhm.
People are.
Yeah, I think vulnerability plays a lot. Because as men, when you become vulnerable, it's like a sign of weakness
Mm,
when it shouldn't be. But you don't want the woman to use that against you. I've had that used against me before.
mm-hmm.
Like,
Oh,
oh
you told me
well,
that.
yeah, oh well, man, real man is not supposed to cry, or real man is supposed to do this. And like, no, I'm asking you for help.
Yeah.
So for me, it was hard to be vulnerable with you because I didn't want you to be like, oh, well, look at this punk. It's like, no, let me just man up
And
or.
y'all, this been my voice my whole life. I've been very direct. I'm
Mhm.
just like, I be sounding a little manly when I wake up in the morning. And I have been told though, like my presence and what I give. I think people, it's amazing what people think of you just by your presence and you not even speaking, but not knowing like, man, I got so much stuff I'm dealing with on the inside. And I may exude like this
Mhm.
confidence or like have this whatever this presence is, but it's wild to know like that's what I give off
Mhm.
in a relationship. But I had to learn then where I need to soften up and create that safe space.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So okay, so let's talk about then some key components to healthy relationships.
Okay.
So again, we've learned a lot from other people.
Mhm.
I think just from our own
Our own experiences,
experiences, but yeah,
therapy.
therapy. Listen, I love therapy. I love
Mhm.
therapy before I was even a therapist. Doing hair was therapy, okay? Like my clients felt like I helped them so much and they know, oh, I got my hair done, but I just love talking to you. I would always tell my clients, like, man, y'all don't know how much y'all helped me through my mess by listening to y'all or just
Right.
having conversations. It
Mhm.
just helped me to see, like, my life is not that bad.
Mhm.
Or, anyway, I just went off. Anyway, yes. So,
Mhm.
yeah, therapy. Well, what's one thing? So, I have a certain experience from when we were in couples therapy that really helped me, our communication. That was
Mhm.
more of like a personal
Mhm.
aha than
Mhm.
anything.
I think, let me tell you mine first.
Go ahead.
Okay. So I think with me, it was the triangle
Okay.
illustration that our therapist had, where he was like, "Hey, when you feel like things are starting to go up, then you might want to say, hey, this is about to escalate. Can we take a step back?" And then that
Okay.
way it allows for the other person not to react out of emotion. Like, okay, well, let's revisit this
Oh
conversation
yeah, yeah, yeah.
once everyone cools down.
Yeah. And then what was important there was okay, in that like yes, we can revisit, but your partner, your other person may need I need a time. Like, when we gonna revisit this?
Right.
Because you can't just say, let's revisit this later
And then
and
it
think I'm gonna
just,
be okay with
right,
this. When is later?
right.
Right. So it's helpful to say, okay, again, space and grace. Let's revisit this, but let's maybe later on the night we can have a conversation, once we
Right.
wind it down, or, can we talk about this tomorrow after we get off work? Something, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Okay. What
Again,
was
because I'm
yours?
a person that's like, I need answers,
Right. Right.
Mine about what I think I loved about him telling us, and I will say this, that was an agreed upon therapist that we picked out. We
Mm-hmm.
both,
We
and
did.
I made sure like, is this somebody you would want to go with? And we actually, I think we talked to two or three different ones, and
Right.
then we
Yeah.
selected. So be mindful of that. Just don't go with whoever you think is right.
Mhm.
But one thing he told me is sometimes you hear a rustle in the bushes and you think it's a lion and it's just a squirrel. And so
That was a good one.
making a big deal out of something and like kind of reacting off
Mm-hmm.
of emotion without, and it's not even anything big like that. So I think it just took some self control there and some really this again stepping back, the same thing like step
Mm-hmm.
back and reflecting, and then
Right.
let's have this conversation from a different space. So that was a good.
It was. It was good.
um, Communication styles was important again. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I'm a talker. Can y'all tell? So I am one who let's process this. Let's talk about this. And I know I said I don't like processes, but I do want to like, well, why do you feel this way? Or "Ooh, I pay attention to body language. We had this thing earlier, y'all.
We did.
Because I'm like, but your body is giving something else. Like, what is
Right.
wrong?
But in my head, it's like, just leave me alone and let me just get through this.
I'm like, Patrick, ain't nobody in your head. Like, I don't live in your head with you. So,
Right.
yeah, I'm a talker. I like to talk things out. I like to understand. I like to understand the way the thing works. I like to understand why then did you react that way. Um, so then for me, it helps me to correct but I see people can use that against folks.
Mm-hmm.
Like once I know that they get you,
Right.
I'm not trying to be manipulative. However, people should know. People should know that they can be manipulative that way. What's your communication style?
My communication style, I think I said earlier, but like I like to process. I like to get an understanding. Like I take time in my own head to see both sides of the story
Okay.
or both sides of the issue. And then I come back and like, okay, now I'm ready to talk about it because now I understand where you're coming from,
Mm.
and now I understand where I'm coming from, and here's the difference in my head that I done came up with, and I understand everything clearly now. So yeah,
Um, I think the way we learn to communicate with each other, trial and error.
a lot of it.
Here's one thing: we don't have no dog story though. Like
No,
I
we
don't know,
don't.
I ain't want to have a boring story anyway. I mean, like I ain't want to have breakups like that either. But they were beneficial. But man, that trial and error, that's how I learned like what Patrick needs. And to I guess be less self like you can get really selfish with, but me, I need. And then you gotta be able to be attuned and hone in on what your partner needs.
Yeah,
So
vice versa.
there's times when like, okay, even throughout the day, like I'm realized I need to reach out to Patrick and say, just call him or something. I'm sure he wanna like just kind of like check in, I guess, or just to say hey. And that's
First of
something
all,
I really put effort in. I mean, not.
don't put it like it's all on me because if I don't call you, you'll
Oh yeah.
be calling me 3, 4 times, and you'll send me a text like, "Hey, you ain't go to break yet?"
So I guess you sleep like.
Right. And I'm like, whoa, I'm working here,
I
or I
do
am
I do
sleep.
have my ways.
So
Yeah,
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 so
it's
it's
vice
not,
versa.
yeah.
But I am more considerate of that. And that consideration is a big thing in a
Mm.
relationship. We'll talk about that later. Any other way that we learn each other's communication styles?
Um, I think it's mostly trial and error.
I think that's the only way. But you know how many people shut down because of that? Like will
Mhm,
end relationships and won't come back to it at all.
mhm,
When that could have been your person. But
right,
for small things like a miscommunication
right.
or what did you hear versus what I heard? Or
Mhm,
some people be listening into tone and it was just the way he said it. And sometimes you don't know, that might have a deeper root there. The way he may have said it would have been because maybe it reminded him of 3 or 4 people ago, or the way his
mhm,
mama said something before, right? We don't know that, or vice versa. So I think,
yeah.
man, that's why it's just important to do your own self work in the
Mhm,
process, but to really kind of step back and ask yourself those questions. Oh, ask yourself those questions.
mhm,
Like, why did that just make me upset? Why did that make me want to snap on him like
right.
that?
I think a lot of people need to, when it comes to things that offend you, take a step back and don't react out of emotion. Just react like take the emotion out of it
Yeah.
and see what the other person is really saying,
Mm-hmm.
and then react.
Y'all,
But
you see a step back. We keep saying step back, step back.
right, yeah, take a breather. Step back. Even if you have to go outside for a second to cool off because it's cold outside, and just really understand what the other person is saying.
Yeah, yeah. Well, also, active listening. That's Google it if you ain't never heard. I think everybody has to have heard of
Yeah,
active listening now. That's
school.
school. Yeah. Well, I don't know. Schools still teach that, but
No.
listening to understand, not just respond.
Mhm,
Those things are important. And then this expressing your needs clearly, ladies. These men cannot read your mind. They cannot. They not gonna pick up on that little hint. Well, I did this and he don't know. So really expressing your need. Do you feel like I did that?
yeah, sometimes.
Like you should just know.
Right.
You know what? I probably have because I my one of my love languages is acts of service. I think my main one is, and so I just feel like if I tell you one time, one it's kind of hard for me to say I need somebody to do this thing for me,
Mhm,
so I feel like you should know. But okay, yes,
yeah. I mean, but it's vice versa. Like we expect y'all to know, but y'all not mind readers either.
yeah.
So men, we need to be forthgoing and telling these ladies what we want and what we need.
Yeah, and I think that's in all aspects. I
Mhm,
mean, intimately,
mhm,
um, when it comes to cooking, what you want to eat, like things like that. When it comes to raising kids, whatever it is, like expressing yourself clearly is so important. Um, but one thing that allows that to happen is being able to be vulnerable with your
mhm.
person, like creating that safe space and creating that vulnerability. Because without that, can't none of this happen.
But I want to let's
What's up?
so on active listening.
Okay.
A lot of times, like even though people don't say it, it's how they show it.
That
So
body
yeah,
language.
so how a woman treats you is how she wants to be treated, or how a man treats you is how he wants to be treated. So if you want to be treated a certain way, you should treat your lady a certain way, or
Yeah.
vice versa. That's another form of active listening.
It should be, but we know some people who
That's true.
treat their partner funky and
Or communicate what you need, so that way,
yeah.
it opens up to that partner, you know, treating you a certain way, and then you be able to treat, your lady or your man the way
Hope
they need to be
yeah,
treated.
that's the
Yeah.
desire. But yes, creating that space, that safe space to be vulnerable
Hmm.
is so important. And I think another just foundational piece in a
Right.
relationship. And I think that takes time though.
It
I
does.
don't know nobody who jumped into a relationship like I'm just
Hmm.
gonna give you everything,
Right.
I'm just gonna let you in. That takes time.
Hmm.
And it's like, especially when you're dating in your late 30s and you've already
Hmm.
had families, we didn't share that I've never been married before. I've never been married before.
Hmm.
Been single, like I said, been a single mom since 19.
I was married for 7.5 years.
So we
So
have
yeah.
different experiences. So especially when you're dealing with these different paths,
Hmm.
that's important, and that patience is important um, with getting to know each other and creating that space because, man, we had layers to peel back, and that again is what led to some of these breakups as well. So it's good to be able to have a space where this person, if you say you love this person, how am I sitting here judging you and making you feel a certain way, and then you can't come here and share with me how you really feel, and
Right.
that's when I sensed in you before, like because that's one thing
Hmm.
we talked about in
We
therapy,
did. Yeah.
because he didn't feel comfortable to share. I think how he really felt with me, and what you say, I was son you, I was
Yeah.
mom you.
Yeah. Some me like I'm not one of your kids. I'm your man. Even though I might be like a couple years younger, doesn't mean that I'm your child. But I feel like in every relationship, there's always that one person that tries to like, I don't know, parent the other one.
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I did so again, stepping back and reflecting. I
Hmm.
did notice there's time, and I would once I start paying attention to it, I caught myself when I would parent. Well, I feel like I'm parenting him, and I think I've apologized several times. I haven't done it. I'm surprised. Like I'm not surprised. Like
Right.
I've done good. I haven't done it in a while, but I do remember times where I caught myself and like, you know what? I apologize if that sounded like, you know, I was trying to treat you like my child, my child, But again, I think that's an understanding and growing with each other because there's things that, for me, I know as a single mom, like I had to do and I felt like he didn't understand. And just because he didn't understand didn't mean like he's childish or he's whatever. Um, so what is let's see, conflict. Let's talk about conflicts.
Mhm.
So we resolved our conflict, our
Right.
first one with the communication piece.
Mm.
By it did take some text messages.
I think the way we resolved it really was just sit down, talk about it.
Yeah. I think that right there was like the first opportunity
Hmm.
to create a safe space to be vulnerable
It
with each
was.
other. Which was just a smidge or something, right? But
Hmm.
I think that first conflict you have, being able to come to the table or whatever and really just be like, hey, all right, I see where I could have did this differently,
Right.
it takes some humbling, yes, but it also takes, I think, getting your ego up out of that thing, man.
Hmm.
Because then you can have another person sitting across the table from you all puffed up like,
Right.
yeah, you was wrong. Like, yeah,
Hmm.
you better apologize.
Right.
Like,
But then there
yeah.
goes to that grace and space.
That
You got
grace and space. Yeah.
right.
Yeah. Yeah. Having that grace and space. So again, we talked about tabling conversations. That's
Hmm.
important. That's something that helped us. Giving an actual time when we're gonna come back and talk about it. Um, Pausing during heated arguments, like in the middle of argument. Like
Yeah.
if you don't be aware about how you talk and how you speak and your
Hmm.
levels, like I
Right.
tell everybody, you should have think about the thermometer. Like we at 0 and we got like
Hmm.
100. You should know when it's starting to creep up and
Right.
feel like I know my body sensations when I'm
Hmm.
starting to get like, oh, I'm about to light his up,
Right.
like
And I feel like,
like,
disagreement shouldn't be disrespectful.
at all, at
Like I'm not going
all.
to sit here and disrespect you. but we're gonna sit here and have a conversation.
Yeah, cause listen, if it get to y'all calling each other out your names, that
Hmm.
you dogging people, parents and kids or
Right.
whatever,
Get
it
the punching
ain't
walls and
it
stuff.
ain't get the punching, throwing stuff
Right.
like
Not even worth it.
man, you might not want to be in a relationship and work on
Mhm.
yourself for real.
Right.
Like, take the time to be by yourself and work on yourself.
Mm.
People are so afraid, and especially I think some people like who are in their late 30s, if they're like serial daters,
Mhm.
they're afraid to be alone, and it's
Yeah.
like you that scared to be by yourself, like to
Mhm.
really work on yourself. So I think that's something important. Yeah, if you're doing things like that, take a break, dog, for real. And if you're with somebody who's like that, please value yourself more
Right.
and be aware
And
like
leave
this
them
ain't
alone.
it. Cause that's not love at
No.
all. That's not love. Love is not disrespectful. And I think we've
Mm-mm.
done a good job of not being that way towards each other.
Right. Yeah.
Let me pause. No, I'm just playing. Oh yeah,
Mm.
no, I wouldn't be with Patrick
Okay.
if it was like that.
Yeah. No.
Mm-mm. No, so what's some things you want to leave with everybody? I mean, we talked about communication styles. Thank you, guys. We talked about communication styles, how we communicate,
Mm.
how we grown, things we've
Yeah.
done. What else?
That's it. Really. Like I said, like we said, take a step back
Mm-hmm.
and just think. And really, when you take a step back, think, try to understand where the other person's coming from because they might say one thing and well, they might talking about something, but you have to understand like something else might have happened in that day.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
So they're saying one thing to you to get you to understand what they want you to do or how they want to communicate.
Yeah.
But you also have to understand like maybe they're mad about something and it has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
So then
That's
you come
true.
back and like, hey, I understand you was a little upset earlier. What happened earlier in your day, or what happened? Did you get some bad news or something like that? Let's talk about that.
And not in a condescending tone. Don't try to
Yeah,
be funny. Like, you know what I
right,
mean?
right. Yeah, you don't have to be funny.
Because I can see somebody be like, what's wrong with you
Right.
today? What happened in your day?
You take
Yeah.
your medicine. You on your bipolar medicine or something.
Don't try to be funny.
Right.
Yeah, that's gonna escalate the situation.
Right.
So I suggest a few changes that let me just challenge some of y'all today. Um, Whether you're in a relationship or you're single, my challenge is to truly learn how to check in with yourself regularly, right? Check in with yourself. Might be a couple times throughout the day. See how you feeling. Is it something that's happened that you need to kind of like process through on your own?
Mhm.
And practice active listening. That's something you don't got to be in a relationship to practice active listening.
Right.
Practice it with your coworkers, with the nail lady, with I don't know your mama, But practice really being present and listening, not to respond, but really to take in that
That's
information.
a
So
good
you're
one.
understanding what they're saying, but not just like hearing the words. Look at their body. Like pay attention to um the lean ins, the size, so much can tell us a lot more to the story
Mhm.
than just the actual words. But yeah, that tone and how they say and things like that. If they continue to repeat stuff, like there's things you really can work on. So those are just two,
Mhm.
quick things that I think are important. So yeah, what's our next episode gonna be about? What you
So our
want to talk
next
about?
episode, we're going to talk about navigating age gaps in different at different life stages.
Yeah,
Yeah.
navigating age gaps and different
Mhm.
life stages. I think is because, and I think that's an important one for us to bring up next because that's where the about second and third breakup came from,
Right.
because that one was again challenging.
Mhm.
Man, dating in your late 30s again, that was a challenging one. So
Yeah. In the late 30s, everyone's at different stages of life. Like either you got kids that's graduating, you got kids that are teenagers, or you got babies.
true. You might have somebody who about to be a granny. No, I'm just
Yeah, that is
playing.
true.
No, for real.
So yeah, so
Yeah.
everyone's at different life stages
That's true.
in
It's
the
like a
30s.
little tricky age, but
Hmm.
man, don't lose hope, guys, because I feel like I've heard this from a couple of people when I told them we was doing this podcast. Like, that's gonna be good because it's hard out here, and even people just feel like it's hard to make friends in your late 30s, right? Let
Right.
alone finding a man or a woman. So,
Mhm.
I hope this gives y'all a little bit of hope. Like it can work and it can happen. It's gonna take some work and
Yeah.
you be ready for that work. But do the work on yourself first or in the process if you need to. So we want to tell y'all to
to like, share, subscribe,
You can
hit the
find,
notification
yep.
button,
We're on Merge and Evolve on on YouTube, Merge and Evolve on
Instagram.
Instagram. Yep. So you
Mhm.
can follow us on there. Yeah, share with your friends, with your coworkers, with your people. Give us a little comment,
Right.
give us some encouragement. No,
Let us
I would love to know your thoughts. So for
right, yeah.
real.
Let us know what your communication styles or tips and tricks that you have. Oh, uh,
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
yeah,
That was
that was it. Yeah.
good. No, but thank you so much. Thank you,
Yeah, thank
Patrick.
you, Kyla.
This was cool.
It was.
All right. See y'all.